as you feared it would be, or what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think our guys came out focused and ready and looked fairly sharp. I mean, they're probably going to say, "See, coach, practice is overrated. We can rest for 10 days and go in those stretches." But no, they came out ready, knocked some shots down. I thought we played fairly alert defensively. The issue we had a couple times was not possessing defensive rebounds. I think that was big, and we gave up second chance points. Statistically, I don't know how many, but we got good shots and did what we were supposed to do. And there was a level of I talked to him. Our two pillars. I said, will you be humble and will you be passionate today? Will you play with humility and knowing who you are and approach this the right way, and then with great passion on every possession, the best you can muster up. And so that was kind of the mindset.
We talked a little bit of just a couple of moments ago about how the reality is that you hadn't had a chance to play some of the bigger name teams that you'd expected to this season, but that will be the case now moving forward, of course, with Gonzaga coming up on Saturday. Did a game like this after that long layoff help set you up a little bit more for that, or were you able to accomplish what you hoped to for getting your team ready for a matchup like that?
Everybody stayed healthy. Poppy got a kind of a kink in his neck and he got locked up. But I don't know, when you play a team as talented and as explosive as Gonzaga, I don't know what prepares you for that. I know how good they are, and I know what we'll have to do at a very high level to be in a game like that and make it competitive and hopefully be successful. So I understand that, and it'll be a different kind of game, the way they'll get down the floor. Again, we gave up, if this is right, our stats sheet is, I think it says 14 offensive rebounds. That won't fly. But, there's going to be some areas that'll test you. But it was a good step, and now we prepare for, I think they're still the number one team in the country.
All right, we'll open it up to questions. We'll start with Jeff White. Sorry, that's my computer. Jeff White, Bennett Conlon, and Mike Barber.
Hey, Tony, especially during a pandemic when the guys are following all these protocols, I would think the games are kind of the reward for all the work and all the sacrifices they're making. When you go so long without an actual game, how does that change things at practice? Did you see, was it harder for these guys to stay engaged and stay focused, and was that a challenge for the coaching staff?
Well, again, we had 3 days to prepare after 10 days of nothing. So I think guys were really thankful and grateful. We talked about that, to come back and practice and play. And again, we talked about, understanding the challenge of that. And again, the opportunity to play, who you're playing in William & Mary, then Gonzaga, and then into conference play. We thought, again, for a while we were going to play Villanova. So I think we were grateful to be there. I think this generation, sustained focus is an issue, and good teams are focused. They're concentrated. Their effort's good in practice, in the little things. There's an execution-based mindset that has to continue to step up for this team to reach its full potential, whatever that is. We talk about that often. So we practice. I thought first practice was good, coming back out of it. Our second practice I didn't think was so good, and I thought we were fairly sharp and focused last night. And then, again, there was a level of that, far from perfect, but in this game, and that will be required. There's no other way, and that's what I think our guys have to keep grasping. Rotations, players, that can come and go for us. We're not established yet, but I think that, again, some good minutes from different guys.
Coach, I was curious what needs to improve from your vantage point against Gonzaga. Where are sort of the areas you want your team to be able to?
Well, I think you're going to have to be better in every area. Not that saying we were poor, but it's just the reality of that. I look at that 14 offensive rebounds. You have to have a level of urgency like you haven't had this year in terms of being back and set and then getting to shooters and then again, everything. It really is that, and you got to take care of the ball, but you don't back down. So you run your stuff hard. You go against them. I've been, fortunate enough when I was a coach at Washington State to play against the Gonzaga teams. We had great battles, and they've done a good job, a really great job, I should say, with having threats offensively. They've always been good all over the court, inside, outside, quickness. And so, again, it tests what you do. You always try to have a program or a team that prepares to play against the best. And we'll have to be, at our best with not a ton of prep or a lot of games, but, again, grateful for this opportunity.
Tony, Trey Murphy gave you a nice outing today.
He did.
I'm curious, what has his addition meant to kind of how you envision this team? Because I know you went into the year not knowing that you would have him.
Yeah, I think, he was – I thought he was locked in, and he slid well today, bothered some shots, snatched some rebounds. He can stretch the defense with his shooting, and he's a multiple position player, can guard different positions, and then, even offensively can do stuff. So I thought he looked sharp and was ready to play and had the kind of energy and focus, if you want to use that word, that we need from him always. And again, it was great to get him, eligible to play. Ironically, I think the NCAA passed a waiver that if he didn't get the waiver earlier, he would have been able to play. This would have been his first game. I think that's a new rule. But again, thankful that he was eligible to play, and I thought he did a nice job. And then, the film will show areas that we can improve each guy individually, and we'll address that and get ready to go.
All right, we'll try this from over here. Let's go David Teal, Gene Long, and Preston Willett.
We banned you to the corner of the room.
You did, so bad.
Tony, how did the Gonzaga game come about? And was there any part of you that hesitated on such short notice to play a team of that caliber?
So, I think Baylor and Gonzaga were scheduled to play, and then when that canceled for COVID reasons, CBS was out looking for, all right, what's a team that would play? I mean, I think they thought we would be a potential option. And at the time, we thought we were going to play Villanova. We thought we were going to be under the 7-day quarantine after being, contact traced with our COVID protocol. But the University of Virginia has a 10-day, so we were planning to play Villanova and Gonzaga. It's Gonzaga, not Gonzaga. You'll get in trouble. I lived out there. They don't like that when you say Gonzaga. It's the Zags. So that was the plan, and then unfortunately, when it didn't pass to a 7-day quarantine, the University of UVA said their policy is 10. Then that knocked us out of the Villanova game. So I'm thankful that we have that to play that heading into ACC play. So long answer to a short question. When Baylor and Gonzaga couldn't play, and they couldn't move the date, I think with Big 12 conference starting, I don't know if we approach CBS, they approach us. That's beyond me, but it's like an opportunity. Then your second question, did I hesitate to play? I was hesitant at first to play Villanova because I'm like, we're going to come off 2 days practice and have to play them on the 19th. I didn't know, and I told that to Jay Wright. I have the utmost respect for Jay. I said, Jay, I need to think about this. I said, we're going to be 7 days of no practice and playing you. And then I thought about it, and he said, take your time. He said, I understand. And then when I called him and said, the plan is to play, because we were operating under a different quarantine number, and then we had to pull out because it didn't shift to that. So again, you always think about what's ready, but we said we got to play against this kind of competition to find out where we're strong, where we've got to improve, and again, always great preparation for the ACC coming up. We didn't get to play Michigan State. Didn't get to play Florida, so that's kind of the thinking and how it all transpired. Probably more than you ever wanted to know, but that's how it all led into this stuff.
Hey, Tony, when you guys find out the day before the Michigan State game, I think it was December 8th, that you were not going to be able to play, can you kind of take us through that when you told the team?
Yeah.
Your reaction, and then when you have the 10 days of quarantine or isolation, are you able to coach it all virtually, or is that just?
Oh, sure. We had practiced the eve of our Michigan State game. I can't remember if that was we were going to play on Wednesday, so we finished our practice on Tuesday, and all of a sudden, I think we got the test results back at 7 or 7:30 after practice. And, I was walking through the training room to say goodbye to the guys, and Ethan said, I told this to Dave, actually one of our players said, Coach, he said, Ethan talked to one of our players, and everybody was kind of, you're always wondering, all right, here come the tests back. And then I walked in the training room, and Ethan said, I think we might have an issue. And then again, we found out 7:30, whatever that was, Tuesday night, and and then obviously talked to Coach Izzo, and we ended up having we weren't able to play the game based on that. So that was frustrating. I think the guys were wondering, had a Zoom call, whatever, 9 or 10 that night. And you're on the Zoom call, and I was just kind of watching Sam. Here's an opportunity. It was his birthday. He was going to play against his brother. Parents are coming up, and I felt for all of us, but for him, and again, to play a great team. But whatever blow you're dealt with, you take it, and then you move forward, and that's what we did. Yeah, with some virtual coaching, some video stuff. That was about it. So pretty limited.
It's kind of going off that virtual coaching and stuff. Did this time off, the 18 days in between games, were you able to really reflect on just kind of how the first 4 games were?
Of course, that's what you have. So you have a small sample size to really look at film. Okay, what do we have to address, and try to be as crisp, because time is going to be the essence when you come back. So we want to basically keep it fairly simple and execute, and maybe add a thing or two, look at personnel, work on things like that. So yeah, that was it. I mean, it's not like we're pretty much who we are, but there's some adjustments from that. And yes, that was a valuable time, and at least we made, I think, the most of it from a video standpoint that way, and trying to critically think about our team and what we have to do and the next steps. And that's why I think of William & Mary and then Gonzaga heading into conference are important pieces in this.
All right, we'll take our last 3 questions from Jeff White, Bennett Conlon, and Mike Barber.
This was Thomas's 3rd straight start, I believe. How has his game evolved from when he came in here from the junior college?
Yeah, no, Tom's gotten better. He's a great team player, and he's got very good feel. That's his strength, and just his experience. Again, we've sort of rotated starting lineups, but he got us off. I think he banged the shot and did some things. So, we've got right now we're playing. I guess we've pretty much played 8 deep, and then we played Poppy and Justin were in there during the guts of the game. That can change, but Tom, I think his maturity, his feel offensively, and just knowing where to be are important for us, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. And I like Tom's attitude and his feel and just works. And he's hard on himself, because I know he feels like, well, I haven't been shooting it the way I want, but he understands what it takes. And even when he's not playing, he's great. You can hear him behind on the bench, and I just like his maturity level. Very mature for obviously all the things he's experienced.
Coach, what does practice look like after a 10-day layoff? Is it conditioning stuff? Is it normal preparation? Yeah. How do you adjust?
You try to get maybe, you don't want to, it's like a little bit drinking out of a fire hose, so to speak. You got to be careful. That's where Coach Curtis and, and Ethan are so good. All right, look, what's our time constraints? These guys are monitored. You're looking at workload and different things, intensity levels. So that actually helps in these scenarios, and how long you go, how much up and down. They need to, do some stuff. So the 3 days were strategically planned. They really were to hopefully get as much as we can without, if you say, well, we got to go 3 hours, 3 days in a row and practice up and down because we haven't done it. Well, I think that might be the law of diminishing returns. So I thought it was pretty strategic the way we did it. And yes, there was, one of the days was a little more heavier up and down things. The other day was a little more half court, but intense and shorter. And then one of them was, fairly long, and just worked them. And again, not a big difference from what we've done, but definitely they hadn't been up and down, and they hadn't played in the game since, 17 days. So tried to utilize that on one of the days pretty heavy.
Tony, this virus situation is obviously not like anything you've had to deal with. I'm curious, did you learn anything from whatever it is that took you out of these games? Is there something that you saw that you say, okay, we got to do it differently? Or was this kind of unavoidable in the nature of the beast?
I think it was unavoidable. You can always try to be as sound as you can with, trying to keep your space. There's certain things you can't avoid. I said this to Dave last night. Basketball is different than football because of practice, how you're going. There isn't an offense and a defense. You're doing a lot of stuff. Obviously, the math, certain things, but when you're playing, you're not. And I would just added these. You can't even see. It's on there. I felt like I was getting ready to play. Ethan came in and he taped me up. He taped my ankle. We got a Connexon chip. I think the SEC is using it and the ACC for basketball. I don't know if they did for football, that it lights up anytime you're within 6 feet, and it gives a programmed, you can monitor the time spent. It's for contact tracing. And, hopefully it'll be interesting to look in the game, see how long was I within 6 feet of how many guys or the players on the court, if there's a positive from their end or our end, so it helps with opposing teams. And then same thing when you're in the huddles and you're doing that, there's times you just have to interact. But I don't think we would have done anything differently, maybe try to just continue to be sound and cautious and smart. But at times it looked like, I said, we're playing social distancing defense. We joked about it, but the game of basketball, you can't do it, and all 5 guys interact.
Thank you.
Yep.